The environment is the most precious asset we have, and currently it has been the subject of more and more attention. Everyone wants to live in a place with wholesome air and uncontaminated nature. What do we want for our children? First and foremost, good health. So that means unpolluted environments. Pollution enters every part of our lives: our work environment, our leisure time, our days, our nights, the food we eat, the liquids we drink, and the surroundings in which we move. It is a universal problem that strikes the atmosphere and, as part of a chain reaction, the vegetation, the sea, and of course all its inhabitants. One of the major forms of pollution experienced in our cities is that of atmospheric pollution. That is, the pollution of the air that we breathe every day. Exhaust fumes from cars, domestic central heating systems, industrial emissions. All these create dust that deposits on the ground together with other types of residue, seriously threatening our health as citizens. Numerous press articles, both national and international, have shown interest in the problems caused by fine dust in the air we breathe. Continuous debates and studies on fine dust are currently underway and involve public bodies, opinion movements, and international personalities, in addition to the public at large. Air is a raw material that is vital to the survival of living organisms. It is in fact the vehicle of the oxygen needed for the energy production processes that are at the root of human life and cell activity. The air we breathe is made up of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, noble gases, and hydrogen. The exchanges between atmospheric air and living organisms take place through various organs and systems. Among these, the respiratory system is the main apparatus in contact with the atmosphere and all it contains. But it doesn't end here. In the air, we also find the notorious fine dust particles, a mixture of particle matter with infinitesimal diameters suspended in the air. These particles are, in fact, measured in thousandths of a millimeter, i.e. in microns. The mass media have familiarized us with PM10 particles and their subfractions PM5, PM2.5 and PM1. Their hazardousness to health is due to the fact that these fine dust particles can be inhaled and penetrate down into the depths of the lungs, interfering with the respiratory activity of the bronchioles and the lung alveoli. A huge variety of street cleaning equipment exists. Sweepers, to name a specific type, are mainly distinguished by their size and by their collection system. Suction sweeping system. This type of sweeping machine is conceptually similar to the system adopted by the common or garden domestic vacuum cleaner. In fact, all the waste collected by these sweepers is concentrated at the center of the machine, if the machine is mounted on a custom chassis, or at its side if the machine is mounted on a truck. The material is aspirated by a suction pipe, usually of limited dimensions, 250 to 350 millimeters, which conveys it into a container at extremely low operating speeds of 2 to 3 kilometers per hour. In suction system machines, a high airflow rate and high vacuum are required in order to collect waste of certain dimensions and weight, such as bottles, cans, sand, stones, and detritus. But these two factors above all become of vital importance in order to complete the sweeping activity effectively and cleanly. A high airflow rate and high vacuum are obviously incompatible with any kind of filtration of the flow of air used for collection purposes. In fact, the application of any kind of filtration system would block the flow of air, thereby lowering the speed. Moreover, the filter would immediately become clogged due to the dampness produced by the high quantities of water used by this type of machine. So given the patent inadequacy of the filters used by this type of collection system, the determination of the quantities of fine dust abated by such machines becomes a matter of decisive importance, especially in the light of the only abatement method available, i.e. the spraying of large quantities of water on the ground, which, mixing with the dust, act as a damper. This method fails to take into account the substantial use of water, an asset that has become extremely precious. Neither does it consider the re-emission into the atmosphere of the PM10 fraction particles, which, being of extremely small dimensions, are not affected by the damping action of the water. And it is for this very reason that the fine dust collected from the road surfaces is newly ejected into the atmosphere at extremely high speeds, thereby causing a rise in the PM10 particles detected by the power units. Our company has dedicated long years of study to the effect generated by road sweeping on surrounding pollution, and particularly on particulate matter, now referred to by the general public as PM10, and acknowledged to be a serious hazard to our health. Dulevo International has been in the vanguard in the fine and ultrafine dust filtration and sweeping sector for over 30 years now, both in industrial and municipal environments, thanks to its patented mechanical filtering suction system, which has always succeeded in the forward-looking objective of pollution-free sweeping, reaching filtering levels of over 99% of PM10 fine dust particles, as well as a drastic reduction in their PM5, PM2.5 and PM1 subfractions. The sweeping system adopted by the Dulevo 200 and 5000 sweepers has a totally different conception from any other existing system, in that it has a unique combined mechanical vacuum collection system. This technology consists of the use of a central brush that loads the waste into a vertical conveying system fitted at the center of the chassis. The shovel conveyor collects all the waste and mechanically transports it to the inside of the hopper. This action is, moreover, extremely rapid, as the central brush is always in contact with the ground, and the dimensions of the suction mouth guarantee an extremely wide sweeping range. The mechanical sweeping action is accompanied by a suction action generated by two turbines that create a vacuum inside the collection hopper in order to aspirate all the fine and ultrafine dust particles, in addition to also guaranteeing the complete elimination of lightweight waste such as leaves, paper litter and plastic bags. In this way, the combined sweeping and suction action permits a cleaning activity by means of which the dust is lifted by the movement of the brush, aspirated by the turbines, and filtered thanks to a bag filter system. This filtering is possible because the turbine creates an airflow with a low flow rate. This is in fact the ideal condition for enabling constant, efficacious, cost-effective filtration that is long-lasting. Dulevo's research into dust control is still ongoing, involving agreements and synergies geared at continuously improving the filtering system of our sweepers. We have come into contact with the Gore Group with its extraordinary filtering materials that have the capacity to considerably improve performance levels. New Gore filters with exceptional features, longer lasting, easier to clean, hydrophobic and oleophobic, but first and foremost, even more efficacious in combating fine dust particles. Dulevo and Gore have stipulated an exclusive international agreement for sweeping filters. It really is time for a change of air, don't you think?